Julie Berninger here from Gold City Ventures, and here's another episode to prove to you that the riches are in the niches. So instead of going after nurse or doctor or one of the main medical specialties, have you considered a medical subspecialty? So we'll give you some examples in this episode. EMT, for example, has around 865 searches per month according to eRank. Now, it's really, really important that you get the terms correct here. At first, I was searching for EMS and paramedic, and those terms did not have a registered number of searches using eRank. It was less than 20 searches per month. It doesn't mean that other people aren't using those terms, but overwhelmingly, it's clear that that specialty is called EMT, and that's what people will be typing in and shopping for. Now, in the EMT space, hoodies, sweatshirts, and jackets look like good bets for print on demand. Those had high searches. Patches, if you sell that as well. And I also saw in the gifting space, candles pop up sometimes, but more t-shirts and some of the other items were more highly gifted. Now, I did see other ways to niche down. For example, Colorado EMT was trending, and I did see sometimes the wife of some of these medical specialties, like paramedic wife, for example, if you add wife to one of these identity medical niches, that you might be able to find kind of a very long tail thing. The searches for those weren't very high, admittedly, but just something to think about, that sometimes people aren't necessarily gifting for that one person, they're gifting for the wife of that person, because often that is a difficult, demanding job, and the wife has their own identity as well. People might be shopping for on Etsy. Now, I did notice, like everything in the medical space lately, seems that people are using Etsy to buy notes, study guides, and flashcards for certain niches, and that was the same here. Nursing, we know, is huge on Etsy for this space, but I also saw for surgical tech, for example, and some of these other subspecialty medical things that people and students were also buying in high numbers, really high monthly revenue for those type of educational resources. So if you understand that particular niche, then consider creating in that space too. Now, the tech industry here. So I'm talking pharmacy techs, veterinary techs, radiology techs, lab techs, all of those were really highly searched on Etsy. Pharmacy and surgical had the higher searches according to eRank, around 800 searches per month, whereas vet was around 250, lab tech was around 135, and then radiology and endoscopy tech were around 25 searches per month estimated. But sometimes the numbers, they're estimated. It may actually be that they're more highly searched, because when I looked at some of the top listings, eRank showed that in the last 90 days, there was a radiology sticker that was getting a lot of views on Etsy. I think it was around 10 views a day on Etsy, which is pretty good for a pretty new sticker. And that leads me to think that a radiology tech keyword might actually be searched more than it's listed here. But just a thought, I already know that lash techs and nail techs and all techs tend to be shopping on Etsy. People are gifting for them on Etsy, so just something to think about. Now, in the EMT space in particular, regarding the gifts or things that people would buy for themselves, sometimes some of them were funny jokes. Like for women that are ambulance drivers, there was like a sticker that said, "Hot girls hit curbs" or something. I don't know, but it had a picture of an ambulance, or there'd be funny little sayings regarding, "Oh, I'll take you to the ER," but for someone that's driving the ambulance. So humor was a little bit at play here in that particular space. In other niches I saw, for example, in the pharmacy space, obviously a lot of the stuff was related to pills. So accessories for your tumblers, for example, if you sell in that space, try to think of what the visuals might be that makes sense for that particular tech to make them say, "Oh, that is relevant to me. I like that." Now, in terms of what printable stuff you could sell in this space, and if you didn't want to go down that digital study guide notes space, I did see in the gifting printable space survival kit tags, where someone would make a new graduate, a card would be one, although that was lower search. But these survival kit tags had about $1,000 per month estimated revenue. I think it was for surgical tech that I saw. And it would be little doodads that somebody would put together for somebody. They call it a survival kit, and then they'd print out this tag, a cute little tag. I also saw appreciation tags, for example, medical week. There's a lot of different weeks going on throughout the year to celebrate these various professions. So that obviously made sense that that was highly searched. And then surprisingly, I saw, I think for surgery techs, or there was some OR operating games, like trivia games that you would see for a baby shower or something. I guess they have them. I'm not exactly sure if this was more of a study guide or not, but just something to look into, that if you sell in the game space, apparently they're games for every niche. Now, another thing to mention in the gifting space, beyond just the t-shirts and the candles and the tags and the regular stuff, I did see one particular listing that was interesting in the pen space. So they had OR tech pens, and it was around $700 per month for estimated revenue. And the pens looked pretty simple with just kind of like a label on them that were relevant, but I never thought of that before. So if you are selling some sort of physical gift, maybe something to look into. And then also there are a lot of coworker humorous gifts in the space. Badge reels and such are always really big in these particular niches, but there were funny ones. One thing that was talking about surgeon babysitter or something, I guess, like maybe, I'm not sure if coworkers refer to each other in that light, but I did see that was a keyword to kind of look into, and one of the newer listings that had popped up in the last few months was using that particular phrase on their badge reel. Anyways, this subspecialty medical niches thing is something to consider, because maybe everyone had already thought of nurse and doctor, but who has thought of some of these subspecialty niches? Again, individually, none of these things, unless you're selling in the study guide space or very popular print-on-demand gifting product, you're probably not going to make $5,000 per month off of one of them. But if you could quickly take a product and then turn it into a bunch of other products that meet the needs of 5 of the subspecialties that I mentioned in this episode today, then that's a way that it can kind of add up to a larger amount of revenue for you. Great ideas in this episode. Thanks to eRank and Everbee for giving me this great information, and Etsy itself. And good luck niching down. The riches are in the niches.